Hey guys, good evening. Welcome back. Hey over the farm. Atrowe Saloto. Welcome back to our channel. I hope you are doing well. How is everyone doing? Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Please give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not yet done so. I appreciate you guys so much. Welcome. Yeah, apologies for the late starts. I got the time mixed up. When I was arranging with Dr. Omerine, and she asked me what time it was. I said 7 p.m. UK time, but I forgot that she's in Houston and she's in Texas, isn't it? So their time there will be 1 o'clock, not it will be 1 o'clock. Or what am I saying? I told her 2 o'clock, which is basically not right. So this is 2 o'clock. So yeah, that's why I had to move it 1 hour further. Please give us a thumbs up. She's trying to get in. I hope she's able to connect. Chidima, the late start actually works for you. It's not working well for me, as you can see. I'm half asleep as I am now. I slept late yesterday because I joined the last show and I slept almost at midnight. Waking up this morning to go to start work, and it's been very hectic, so I'm tired. Yeah, so hopefully she'll be able to jump in soon so that we can get this done quickly. What are we talking about today? Welcome everybody. I appreciate you guys. Please give us a thumbs up. We are talking about, she's actually going to share her own story with us. Um, yeah, she's sharing her own story with us about how she went from an F student. You know what they call F students? When you are an Odo student and teachers keep telling you that you know no book. From being an F student to a medical doctor. So if you have a child that's struggling academically, or you yourself you are struggling, you feel like, okay, maybe I want to go and retrain and reskill myself. Maybe it would be better for me to get additional qualification, but you are thinking, how can I do it at this age? There's nothing like at this age. Learning is a continuous thing, it's an ongoing thing. Welcome everybody. Daisy, how are you? Welcome. Tammy, how are you, darling? Welcome. Please give us a thumbs up. I hope Dr. O is able to connect because I did text her before I jumped in. Let me see. And she says she's trying to log on. Uh, Started already. Oh, I'm waiting. Yeah. So what's going on? How you guys? I hope everybody is well. Thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday almost. It feels like it's Friday, but today is not Friday, but it's almost Friday anyway. Here for you guys in the US and other parts of the world, it might still be afternoon, but we are done for today. We finished Thursday, so for us, Friday is here already. Thank you, everybody. Welcome. Give us a thumbs up. How does a student who is an F9 student? Back in Nigeria, they use red. I don't think they do it in this part of the world. When they are marking, they use red to mark. When you don't get it, when you fail, they use red pen to mark it. Yeah, I don't think they do it anymore. I don't think they do it like that in this part of the world. Yeah. Hey, okay, Dr. O is here. Let's bring her in. Oh yeah, that's why you took long. You're looking pretty. Mm,
I am so
welcome.
sorry. I got the time wrong, but
Yeah.
going to be a great
Oh, I
show.
told you. Yeah, I told you 2 p.m. when I should have said 1. That's fine. Welcome. You're here now. You look good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us. And do you want to introduce yourself?
Okay. Hello, everyone. And I cannot see the chat. Is there a way for me to see the chat or anything? Anyway, that's fine.
You have to use another device to be looking at the chats. Because you
Okay.
are in the stream, yeah, you have to probably open another device to look at the chat. But don't worry, I keep an eye on it for you. So I have the chat here, but I also always have my phone nearby as well, so
Okay.
that I can be looking at it. Yeah, but I do see it because I stream with a laptop.
Okay. Okay. And Auntie B, you're looking gorgeous. I like the gold hair. It
Thank
goes
you,
with the
darling.
golden,
Goes with the golden age.
right? Isn't it pretty gold?
Thank you. Yes,
And,
thank you. Thank you.
and I think we got the purple
Welcome.
memo. We got the purple memo today. You're
Yeah,
wearing purple lipstick.
yeah. I'm
You're
wearing purple lipstick and you're wearing purple lipstick. You see, great minds think alike.
very
Great minds.
okay. Well, hello everyone. My name is Dr. Omerine, but I go by Dr. O. I am a Cameroonian physician. I have been a physician for 17 years, and I am an author of 2 books. But I think that my greatest title is mom. I'm a mom to
Hmm.
3 young, handsome African American boys. For those of you who know me, I am a physician who specializes in emergency room. And I am here to impact one person. One person, if I can influence one parent, one child, then I've done my job.
Well done. Thank you so much, Dr. O. I appreciate you. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, so we are talking about you using your experience, your personal experience, your lived experience to be able to tell the story and also to encourage people and, like you said, influence if it's just one person out there that, is possible from an F student to an MD. How is it
Yes,
possible?
yes, yes.
Tell us.
Okay. So, like I said, I have been a physician for 17 years. And a lot of people assume that physicians were the top of their class, right? And a lot of times that's the case. But some people may not know that I was actually an F student for most of my life, primary school, secondary school, and there's one specific day in 1993 that I remember. It was a hot day, in Cameroon. I was sitting in my father's car and I could barely speak. I was just crying and crying and crying and crying. And my father said I'd been crying for like 1 hour. And he was just sitting down, he was driving the car and he had come to pick me up from school because the third term had finished. And when I looked down, I showed him my report card. It was all red. I had failed
Hmm.
Form 3.
Mhm.
Form 3 is the equivalent of 8th grade. I don't know what it is in the UK, but I had failed Form 3.
Mhm.
So throughout that time, they had promoted me on trial. So Form 1, promoted on trial. Form 2, promoted on trial. Form 3, they said, no, you must repeat. And
Hmm.
I was so devastated. And there is, before I go, talk about my exact story, I want to give you the background of my parents. I came from an affluent family, and my I have quite a few people. Both of my parents were in education. In fact, my mother, she was one of the highest level teachers in Cameroon. She used to write the questions for the GCE O level in English.
Hmm.
So she was part of that
Hmm.
group. Okay. And then my father, he was always either the director of the educational schools that taught teachers. He always had very, very high national president appointed posts in education. So to have a child like me was not just shame for me, but shame for the entire family. And up to that point, I had always struggled, even in primary school, I'd always struggled. But, and they had tried, I was always in holiday classes. I always had tutors. I always had a lot of different, they had tried. And there's no amount of shouting my mother did not do. She should shout and shout and shout, shout and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. Came very close to beating me sometimes. But my parents didn't believe in beatings. God. So that's the background of my parents. Okay. And in my family as a whole, they were very, very strong on education. So me repeating Form 3 was not just shame from me, but an embarrassment for the family. So that third term, my mother was introduced to a teacher, and a very expensive teacher. And it was kind of the last hope, because she had talked, she had shouted, she had taken me to holiday classes, she had done all kinds of things. If my parents were not in education, and if they were not affluent, maybe they would have sent me to go and learn walk. Or maybe they would have sent me to
handwork, to go and learn one handwork.
Or maybe they
You'll
would
have
have
been baking cakes today now.
I
And you
know.
could like cooking.
or or maybe they would have sent me into marriage. Who knows? But
Yeah.
so when
Yeah.
I met that
Yeah.
teacher,
I, mhm.
so when I met that teacher, the first thing he did was give me a test. And remember, I was 13. He gave me the test for a 10-year-old. So it was pretty easy. I had F in everything, especially math, chemistry, biology, chemistry, all the things, physics, all the things that they say as a physician you're supposed to excel at. Those were my worst subjects. So he gave me a test for a 10-year-old. And of course, I excelled in it. And so he said, "Wow, Omerine, do you know you're very smart? You're one of the smartest children I've ever met." Up to that time, everybody had said, "Omerine, you're tall. Omerine, you're pretty." Nobody had ever called me smart. In fact, it was the opposite. That was the first person that called me smart. And that was the changing point in my life.
Wow. Powerful, powerful. I mean, I know we've had this conversation, and you talked about this teacher with so much, joy, and so much passion, and we're having this conversation about the power and the influence that teachers actually have on young minds, and the amazing job they did. And I know you also mentioned to me that when they asked you to repeat that class 3, was it Form 3, you said you were going to repeat. You
So
took it in your chin to repeat that class.
let me tell you what happened. So the teacher taught me for 1 month. Again, he was very expensive. And remember I said my parents were affluent. So at the end of that term, my parents called me and and said, "Okay, we're not going to let you go back and repeat, because remember, it's not just me, it's the entire family that's embarrassed now. We're not going to let you go repeat. We are going to put you in a public school, and you're going to go to Form 4. You're going to go ahead of your mates." At that time, the teacher, that tutor at that time, Mr. Robert Sama, I will never forget him. He had boosted my confidence so much. He had taught me math, and I had, in my 13-year-old mind, made up my mind that I was going to become a doctor. Nobody had ever told me to become a doctor. My parents had, up to that point, had just been trying to see if I could just have a degree. I think that was what was in their mind. So when they told me that they would put me in the public school, because I was in a private school at that time, I was told to repeat in a private mission school, very expensive. All these mission schools at that time, very expensive, boarding school. So when they told me that they would put me in a public school and put me in Form 4, I just burst out crying and I said, no, I have decided I'm going to become a doctor and I'm going to go back and repeat Form
And
3.
repeat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you repeated the class in the same school.
In the same school was very hard because remember in those days,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it is in Nigeria, but you have prefects. So when you get to Form
Of
4,
course.
when you get to
Mm-hmm.
Form 4, you can
It's the
become a
same.
prefect.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And it's a 5-year school. So it means that, and then in Form 4, they call you sister. So you now have a title in the school. Everybody will call you sister. So for me to go back and repeat was so embarrassing. But I made
Yeah.
up my mind that I was going to go
Because
and repeat.
your mates are now in a higher class, they are sisters, they are prefects, and you are in the lower class, so I can imagine. Yeah. And what happened after that when you repeated the class?
So the thing, there was one thing that my parents missed. And yeah, and one thing that used to happen. The reason why I was failing was because of something that was missed. When my mom will send me to go and buy something, say she's in the middle of cooking, okay, and she wants me to go and buy Maggi or salt or something. By the time she sends me to come back, 30 minutes have passed, I've not come back. I have completely forgotten. I've completely forgotten. Or she'll send me to go and give a message to somebody. I go meet the person and I don't remember. I have no idea. And so what was missed was that I had ADD. I will sit down in class and I will just daydream. And in those days you have, chalk, a chalkboard and
Mm-hmm.
chalk on a chalkboard. So and the teachers are going fast and wiping, going fast and wiping, and there's all this movement, and there's so much. So I will just sit there and daydream. And I have a very creative mind, so I'll just be creating some things in my mind. So I wasn't getting the information. So every time she will yell and shout and say, "Oh, Marie, you're lazy. Oh, Marie, you're stubborn. Oh, Marie, you're this. Oh, Marie, you're that. Oh, Marie, you're that. You can't pass an exam. You're a poker." Every time she would say that, it was almost like she was prophesying those things to pass because I will now embody that identity. So when that teacher came and said, "You're actually one of the smartest students I have ever met," it lit a fire within me, and then I decided I was going to become a physician. So when I went back to school, remember he taught me just one subject, math, for 1 month. When I went back to school, I realized that the thing that will take a student 1 hour to learn, I will need to work on it for about 3 hours. So while the children were sleeping, I was studying with the torchlights under my sheets. If they were, I would study all night, and I learned that I had to go over something over and over and over again. Not because I could not understand, but because I was easily distractible. So during the daytime, when there's so much going on, there's so much activity, I realize that I didn't know at the time, but now as a physician and as an adult, I can sit down. But inherently, I just realized that at night, when there's nothing going on, or early in the morning when there's nothing going on, I could focus.
You
And
could
so
focus. Yeah.
I went from being, the F student, and that first term back, I was top 10. And all those classes that I was Fing, I became an A student.
What is ADD?
So attention deficit disorder. That's what ADD. There's ADD and there's ADHD. So attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder. You see the student at fidgety in class. Some children are not fidgety physically, but they're fidgety in their mind, constantly thinking, 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 thinking,
Mm-hmm.
thinking. A person with ADD, um, you know, people, Africans will say, God forbid, but that person actually has, it has been found to be associated with a neurotransmitter deficiency. What that means is the
Mm-hmm.
chemicals in your brain, the chemical in your brain, the ones that give us energy, the one that keeps us motivated, the one that helps us focus, that chemical is deficient. And so that
Hmm.
child, if that child is not, that child can either be treated with medication or do what I inherently did as a child, which was focus, because I had to really pull myself to focus. That's why when everybody was sleeping, I would be studying with my torchlight under my sheets. And I wasn't diagnosed until until after I finished medical school, finished residency. That's when I finally went to a doctor. I said, okay, help me. But it had devastating consequences. I'm here because there are a lot of parents who don't even want to hear that that could be
Hmm.
the diagnosis. And
The
so,
possibility. Yeah.
right, children with ADHD are very sensitive to negative comments.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
everything, even now, it had a devastating effect on my self confidence and my self esteem because I
Hmm.
just believed, for many years, you've been hearing that, you've only been seeing red, 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 trouble, 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 trouble. So I just believed that, I had water in my brain or something like that. And I was embarrassed of myself. I was
Hmm.
embarrassed of my family. I was embarrassed of everybody. So fast forward.
Hmm.
So I made that decision. So I excelled in the GCE O level. I got to lower sixth. Lower sixth is equivalent of what? 11th grade. And I was in a different school at that time. Remember, I was in a 5-year mission school before. This one was, a 7-year school. So I was, to continue. And I different school, different environment. I started having trouble again, and but this time I wasn't an F student. Though I was just scaling through. I was, C and B, C and B, until physics came. Time for physics. Physics, I was an F student. So my teacher at the time, because remember, Cameroon is a small country, I don't know how to
Hmm.
do it now, but um, schools are graded. So if you're going to write the national exam, you want to take your smartest students, right? If at least the students will pass, even if they're
Hmm.
not the smartest. So my teacher at the time told me, sent me out of the physics class in lower sixth. He said I was not going to write physics because lower state is where you prepare for the A level, the upper state you write A level, then you go to college. So he sent me out. I was 16 years old. I went outside and sat down on the ground by the window because I told myself I'm going to become a doctor. I must pass this physics.
Hmm.
So I sat down, harmattan, insects, lizards, all kinds of things. I was taking my class from the window.
Did
And
you tell your parents about that experience of being sent out and sitting outside the class?
I eventually told them later, but remember, this is 1996. Which cell phone, which phone? You're in boarding school, you're on your own. You're in
Hmm.
boarding school. My parents were in a different city.
Right.
So when
Right.
I go when they send you out for outings, maybe once a month, I'm not going to my parents.
Yeah. So apart from the fact that you had this condition that was not diagnosed, you also were very determined because you've made up your mind that you're going to be a doctor. So nothing was going to stand in the way of being that doctor. And you needed physics, you needed chemistry, you needed maths, and all these subjects that they were giving you F, that you were barely scaling through. So you were sitting outside the class to learn.
Yes, but that fire was ignited in me when that teacher said I was smart. Before then, my whole focus was, oh my God, I am an embarrassment to my entire generation and my
Hmm.
family, everybody. Okay. So when that teacher told me, wow, you're one of the smartest children I've ever met, that it just lit a fire within me. And I always tell parents, parents sometimes, they want to force their children into a profession. You must become a doctor,
Mm-hmm.
a lawyer, you must become this and that. When a child decides by themselves to become
Mm-hmm.
something, like I said, nobody has ever
Mm-hmm.
sat down and told me to become a doctor. um, I decided myself. And what that teacher ignited in me was my drive. I was unstoppable. And what I realized, what I learned about myself at that time was, when I decide to do something, wild horses can stop me back. So yeah, physics, I went and sat outside the class and I started taking my physics and I started reading under my with my torchlight again in the night in boarding school. They put off the lights, they put off the generator now, and then I was reading at night. So I started that process again. And so finally, after several months of taking class outside, the man said, okay, I'll give you one more chance. And he gave me a test, the physics test, and I aced it. I also got help from a student in class, but I realized that, okay, something that takes somebody 1 hour to study, I need to study it over and over and over again, because my brain has to be, I have to bring my brain to focus.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So you aced it, and then he let you back in the class.
Aced it, and finally I did the GCA level. I did well in that, and I came to the United States. Fast forward, guess what my I major guess what I majored in? I majored in chemistry. And in college, because of that drive, because I said, I'm going to become a doctor by any means necessary, I had the highest grade in physics in the school. I was on the president's honor list. I had so many, I had scholarships. I graduated with honors, with with a degree, bachelor's degree in chemistry of all things. And so, I'm here to tell people that you know uh, you know the negative reinforcement has its negative reinforcement is okay, but it has everlasting consequences. And if you have been doing
Hmm.
something with a child and it's not working, it might be time to change, because the one thing that that teacher did for me in 1 month was build my confidence. That was the only thing that he did. He
Hmm.
built my confidence.
Hmm.
And when he built my confidence, it ignited the flame that I did not even know that was in me. Because when I declared to my family that I was going to become a doctor, everybody laughed at me. They laughed at me. You've never passed a test. Math, you don't know. Physics, chemistry, biology. Which doctor? They
And your
laughed.
sister is a doctor. Your other sister happens to be a doctor as well.
But not only that, my mother's sister, she's of late now. She was the second female physician in Cameroon and the first female ophthalmologist in in Cameroon and maybe West Africa. So that is a stock from which I came. So when I told people that I'm going to become a doctor too, they were like, you go and learn work.
Hmm. So negative reinforcement is detrimental. It is detrimental. It doesn't help a child. Because when you keep reinforcing what they already suspect or what they are likely to believe about themselves, which is negative, and people in their life are reinforcing them, you are not intelligent, you are stupid, you don't know book, you keep failing, you're an F student. I mean, they'll believe it. They'll believe
Mm-hmm,
it.
mm-hmm,
So it's
mm-hmm.
good for you to be like that teacher. Be like, because I mean, teachers are very, very powerful. They make a lot of impact. Because two teachers you mentioned now, the one that taught you the tutorial, the one that gave you
Mm-hmm.
the tutorial, that the first one that believed in you, and
Yes.
then the one that sent you out of the class to go and sit
Yes.
in the stairs and say, no, you
Yes.
can't take the exam. You never forgot them.
Yeah, never forget those two teachers. I mean, he did not send me to go
Mm.
sit on the stairs. I decided to go and sit outside because I was determined. But
He sent you out of the class.
yes, yes. And the confidence that I had and the drive that it ignited in me in 13, when I was 13 was so strong that the first year that I applied to medical school. I didn't get in. I didn't get into medical school the first year I applied. And, my sister had gotten me admission in a Caribbean medical school. And, when you come to this country now, the people say, hey, don't put all your eggs in one basket. So I had actually applied to pharmacy school. So I got into pharmacy school. I got into a Caribbean medical school. I didn't get into medical school in the United States. I was 21. I had, done very well. So I told my family that no, I am not, it has to be, I have to graduate from an American medical school or I'm not going anywhere. They called a family meeting. You have a 21-year-old child, right? 21 I just had their first degree. Everybody's happy that, okay, thank God you have, at least you've turned your life around. You have admission to pharmacy school in the United States, and you have admission to a Caribbean medical school. So my mother was like, a bed in hand is better than in the bush.
Choose one. Choose one of those two.
Yes.
But you are not having it.
Oh no, 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 no. I was with my sister at the time because my sister is significantly older than me. Friends came to the house. I remember the night in the evening. Friends came to the house. Other, seniors came to the house. Other family members came to the house. My mother was there. My father was on the phone, and they were all talking. I said, no, it is medical school in the United States or nothing. I know what I did. And when I worked as a waitress, when I got a waitressing job.
Because you have to support yourself, innit? You need money. You're a graduate now. You have bills to pay.
So I'm a graduate working at Olive Garden because I don't want to go into. There's nothing wrong with pharmacy. There's nothing wrong with Caribbean medical school, but I had already decided that I was not going. And I went and I got two jobs. I started working as a bill collector. And those people, when you owe your credits, they call you now, to pay. I started working as a bill collector, and I started working at Olive Garden with my my degree in chemistry with honors.
Chemistry degree.
With honors. I started. But everybody was just begging me. They were begging me. They had begged and begged, threatened, begged, did, talk, said all kinds of things. And I said, no, it is medical school in the United States or nothing.
Or nothing.
I am not working if I'm not a doctor in the hospital, because they had said, okay, they had tried to convince me to go do nursing, do an LVN 1 year, at least your foot is in there or something like that. And there's nothing wrong with being an LVN. It was just not my vision. And so I said, no, if I'm not a doctor in the hospital, I am not entering into a hospital. I'd rather go work in the restaurant. So when I worked as a waitress, making $2.95 an hour, I worked
You were stubborn and you stuck to your resolve. Nobody
yes,
was going to shake you. No family meeting was going to shake you. Nobody can tell you nothing.
no. And it came to the point. So my father called me one day and I explained, I said, Daddy, I am going to, I will be a doctor. I will graduate from a medical school in the United States or nothing. And so he said, okay, I give you my blessing. Go ahead. Because there's one thing my father had always said that, when, I'm the kind of person who, when I make up my mind, nobody can change it. He had always said that from the time that I was like 2 years old. I was always like that. So he said, go ahead. So what I started doing was I would listen. I would listen to the I Have a Dream speech by Martin Luther King over and over and over again. I would listen to, there's this song, I see Mariah Carey or somebody, I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I would listen to over and over again. Anybody who was not in alignment with my vision, if you said, Omerine, just go to pharmacy school. After pharmacy school, you can go to anybody who was not in alignment with my vision, I just cut you off. I just stop talking to you. And I got into I remember I had a little red Kia. That car used to shake. Me, 1 year old in that red Kia, I used to shake. And I drove all over Texas to every medical school in Texas. and I would knock on the door and the dean of admission and say, come, 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 come. What should I do to get in here? I was 21. Oh. Come, 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 come. What should I do to get in here? I will explain. I'm Omerine. I want to become a doctor. These are my grades. What should I do? What should I do? Should I do research? What should I do? Should I do volunteer? So I started doing some volunteer things to boost my application. And the next year, guess what happened? I got my first choice, and it came with a partial scholarship to medical school.
Wow. Fantastic. Fantastic. If we don't give up, dreams do come true. I can't even imagine how when you got the news about getting into medical school at last in the United States. I can't
Oh,
even imagine how you felt.
I woke up the entire neighborhood. I shouted, hey,
I'm going to be a doctor.
hey, I woke up the entire neighborhood. I think the envelope came. I had just come from my waitressing job. It was, they close.
Mhm,
I'll come back at like 11 o'clock from my waitressing job, working 7 hours, washing plates, cleaning tables, and all that stuff. And I opened up the admission letter. I screamed and I woke up the entire neighborhood at the midnight. I was so excited. I was so excited. So
mhm,
I think the main thing that I want people to get from my story is this. You know your child better, and there's no one size that fits all. There is a place for
mhm,
negative reinforcement, but you know, there are people who are child psychologists that have said that for one negative word that you say to a child, you have to say five positive words.
mm,
So, negative reinforcement has a lot of lasting effects on a child's mind. And
mhm,
it wasn't that I was not intelligent, it was that my
mhm,
performance did not meet I needed to, I learned in a different way. And once my
mhm,
confidence was built, then I learned how to learn. The other thing that teacher did for me was he taught me how to study. He taught me how to learn. So 1 month with me, he taught me how to study. He boosted my self-confidence. He gave me very, very easy problems. He did, and that 1 month, the rest of it was myself. I just had this burning flame in me, and I just kept on going and going and going and going and going. And I want to I want to give you another example. Serena
mhm,
Williams. So everybody knows Serena Williams, and her story is
mhm,
actually on Netflix. And her coach said there was one time she lost the Wimbledon, the championship or something, and she lost it she shouldn't have lost that match. Is basically the sense I got from it. And everybody can go watch that show on Netflix. I don't remember the name of the show, but after she lost that Wimbledon match, she was so devastated. And her coach said, every time she played, they were practicing, she was worse and worse and worse and worse. Things that the tennis that she could play very easily, strokes that she could hit very easily in tennis, she became worse and worse and worse and worse because she lost her confidence after that final match.
mhm,
So the
mhm,
more he talked, the more he tried to teach her how to do it the right way, the worse she became. So, you know what her coach said? Her coach said he started lying to her. Anytime she would
mhm.
hit, even if she hit it very poorly, she would say, "Oh my God, I'm so proud of you. That was so much better than last time." Although he was lying to her. So he lied to her, lied on to, and noticed that she became better and better and even
She got
surpassed
better.
and the next year she won the Wimbledon. So this is Serena Williams, the greatest tennis player in the world, who negative reinforcement just brought her down. But once they started lying to her, even the Bible says, "Call those things which be not as if they are."
I think they
So
were. Yeah.
kept on saying, "Oh, you're smart, you're wonderful, this and this, giving me so that just boosted my confidence and carried me through. And now I have been in practice for for over a decade. I've been a physician for 17 years. I am a two-time author. I even had one little article of mine was featured in Forbes a few years ago. All these things from a child who, if you looked at the report card in Form 3, you will not even believe that this child will do anything more than cooking or be in somebody's house.
Hmm.
So, Mr. Robert
Hmm.
Sama, if you're listening, I went back and I told him thank you several years ago. But if you're listening,
Somebody asked. Somebody asked the question if you ever got back to him to let him know that you became a doctor.
yes, I did, and I did a show. I did a show with him. I think 5 or 6 years ago, because not only had he helped me, he helped other students, and I wanted to know exactly what he did. And he gave me two things. And the first thing he taught me was the GRR method.
Mm-hmm.
GRR means gradual release of responsibility, which means
Mm-hmm.
you give somebody something very minor, and
Mm-hmm.
you work with
Mm-hmm.
them with that, and once they master that, then you increase the gradual release of responsibility. And then the second thing that he taught me was the RRR method. And I asked him, Mr. Sama, what was the RRR method? And RRR method means the way you relate with a child. First is relationship.
Hmm.
Second is routine. Then third is rules. So we as parents, we as Africans, we naturally start with rules, discipline,
Mm-hmm.
rules. But remember that if you don't have a good relationship with someone, at some point they will just say, okay, you know what, I'm just going to receive your punishment. After all, you will pass. I will cry. I will drink water.
It's only punishment.
I will,
Yeah.
I will cry. I will drink water, chop soy, and then it'll be over. But you never really want to disappoint the people who love you,
You have a
right?
relationship with. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So going back as a woman in her 40s, looking back to what he did to me at 13, he develop that relationship with me and that trust by telling me that I'm smart, by celebrating me, by boosting my confidence. Then I was now motivated to do more math, do more this, do more this, and
Mm-hmm.
naturally I'm the kind of person who's driven. I never even know I'm a driven person until that moment. And
Mm-hmm.
so when he
Mm-hmm.
ignited that flame, I carried it on. So RRR,
Hmm.
relationship, routine, and then rules.
Fantastic, fantabulous. That's an inspirational story. I had the privilege of hearing it before, but it still inspires me, and I think it's such a fantastic story that will encourage not only children, because I mean, as Africans, some of us that migrated here might be contemplating, what should I do? What's the next phase of my life? Should I go back to school? And some people tend to look down on themselves, say, hey, can I read? This brain, what I'm thinking is too much. I cannot read anymore. Whenever we talk about school, some people will just say, no, 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 it's not for me. So this can also help people who were probably thinking, maybe I need to go back to school. Maybe I need to relearn. Maybe there are dreams that people have that they put on hold, thinking, I can't do it. I can't. I can't. But with this story with Dr. Omerine, you can see that impossibility, there's nothing like that.
Yes,
It's
so
just, you know, it's just knowing what works for you in
mhm.
terms of learning. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Because,
yes,
when we're growing up, our parents didn't, of course, they didn't understand that children learn differently. Now, in this generation, it's better. It was
yes,
always like,
yes,
go and read your book. Like one of my child, he suffers from that attention thing. Maybe I should have him diagnosed. I don't know.
yes, so
He suffers from that attention thing. He actually mentioned he just cannot focus. He's always, distracted by things. However, I noticed that
yes, mhm,
he learns visually better. Like if it's
mhm,
anything that is visual, he can learn it. But get him to take a book and read.
mhm.
Oh my God. He will just read one chapter, one page, and he'll be dozing off. So I think it's important for us to know that what works for one child might not work for another child.
Yes, and that positive reinforcement is very important because my I have a son. So my first son, he has a photographic memory. That child I started reading at 3, and he just has a photographic memory. My second child, he was always an average student, and then finally he failed in math. He got, he did some tests one time in school last year in school, and they were like, D's and F's, and I said, so I called him, and I said, mommy was the same too. Mommy is not one of those parents that was an A student. I was an F student at some point, and I told him, I said, your grades don't reflect, just because you have bad grades doesn't mean that you're not smart. We just need to know how you learn. And the thing that I remembered at that time was that we always praise, as my first son's parents, we always praise him for his smartness. And in the second child, we never ever talked about how smart he was. So it was last
Right.
year that I myself, having gone through all this, I started telling him, oh, you know what? You're smart. Oh my God, you're such a smart person. You're very smart. And I would just tell him for no reason. Like I wouldn't wait
Mm,
for any test to come back. I would just say, you're very
mhm,
smart. You're a very smart person. And I would ask him, do you learn
mhm,
with pictures? How do you learn? I would ask him, how do you learn? Do
mhm,
you learn with pictures or do you have to write it down? Because I would say, mommy had a problem learning too. And I just had to find out how to learn. So, sometimes, I started telling him about my story and, talking. And do you know that this year, and I just started building his confidence because I realized I had always, since he's more active, we're always saying, stop this, stop that, stop that.
mm,
No one is in the first one. So this is something that I did unconsciously. The same thing that my parents did to me, I did it unconsciously to my son. So I had to start
mm,
intentionally praising him for no reason. He won't do anything. I will just praise him. I'll praise the first one, praise him, praise the second one, and I'll tell her, they're smart, and I will praise and praise and praise and praise. I know this year he actually got an award for the highest grade in math in his class, and he was a straight A
mm.
student.
Fantastic, fantastic. That's so amazing because my son Toby just came back from uni. He's just done 1 year, and we
Mhm.
were taking a walk yesterday evening. I was bored. I said, let's just take a walk down the road. It was early evening, and I just looked at him and I said to him, Have I told you how incredibly proud of you I am?"
Mhm.
I know I've told him before, but was like, "No." I said, "Yes, I'm so proud of you," and you should see his face.
Mm.
He's 20 years old. No, he's
Yes,
19 going 20. His
yes,
face just lit up. He was so happy. He
yes,
was so I think that's reassurance. Children need that reassurance from their
yes,
parents for them to know that we believe in them,
yes,
that we trust them,
yes.
and that we are rooting for them.
Yes, yes. Because
Mm.
I don't know how it is in Nigeria, but in Cameroon, I remember when I was growing up, they parents actually didn't want to praise their children because they felt like if you praise a child, you're spoiling that child.
We spoil them. Yes,
Yeah,
it's the same
or
thing in Nigeria. Yeah,
they'll become proud, you know.
proud. Yeah.
So like I love you, I've never heard, I've never heard that one from my father. I think my mom said I love you maybe once, once in a while. But my father never, smart never, praise was never. And even when I got all those accolades and did all those great things, as became a physician, did all those things, my father never told me I'm proud of you. He would tell everybody else. Everybody will come and tell me,
Hmm.
"Oh, your father is so proud of you. Oh my God, so proud of you." They will send their child to me, their child to me to show them what I did or what have you. But my father never said, "I'm proud of you," just
Hmm.
because of that culture that, hey, if you praise a child, the child will get
It will spoil
spoiled or
her.
what have you. Maybe he
Hmm.
assumed. My father is dead today. I've never heard him say, Omerine, I'm proud of you. Never. Even on my graduation
Did
day.
he, did you become a doctor while he was alive?
Yes, yes. It was on my graduation day. He came in full regalia, Full African regalia.
And he
Hey,
still didn't say he was proud of you, even after all your
oh,
struggles to become this doctor, to become an
he,
MD.
he was a big man. We had we had a space for him. He was a big. He
With all
was.
his African plenty clothes.
I'm telling you, he came with the
Yeah, I
real,
mean,
authentic, the one, not the synthetic one, the woven kind, with his cap. He
yeah.
came. And I knew he
Yeah.
was part of it, but he never said it. He recounted the
Yeah. They
story of
didn't
how,
verbalize it. Yeah.
yes, I knew he was part of it, but he never verbalized it. He recounted the story of when I was crying in the car at 13. He recounted how shocked he was that I was willing to go and repeat, repeat from three. He recounted that part. And I knew he was proud of me, but he never said it. So parents,
That's him telling you that you've come so far from crying in the car, repeating from three, and now graduating from a US medical school like you
yes,
always wanted. So that's his own way. Because they never learnt it, and to them it would have been awkward anyway. I can't imagine
mhm.
my mom or dad hugging me. It would have been awkward. They didn't hug us. They didn't tell us I love you. But I mean, we live in a different society today, so we
Yes,
we need to parent differently. That's what I always say. Mm.
yes. Plus, we have children nowadays have so many other influences. The internet and Instagram. There's so many other influences, and so if you feel like your own mother or father do not love you, because again, this channel was created to support women of DV, right? And
Mm.
a lot of times we enter into those relationships, we attract those relationships when we have low confidence. And it's not that
Mm.
we have low confidence, is that our confidence was not built. So if the
Mm.
entire focus of your life is, teaching you certain things of how to become a wife, okay, and not even if even if that's not what you're being taught, but that's what you're seeing around you, and your confidence in yourself as a woman, your worth. You're not being told, wow, you know what, you are an amazing person. The only time the person that brought you into this world speaks is to correct. The only
Yeah.
time they speak is to correct, is to correct. Like
Mm.
the
Mm.
words I can hear from my father right now as I sit down and I think, I can only hear correction. I don't remember a
You can't
time.
hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. And even
You
my
can't remember
mom,
any other thing. It's just correction. Yeah. It's
I
always
only remember
telling off, telling off, telling off.
yes, I only remember
Mm.
correction. And so it
Mm.
creates an image of you develop an image of yourself, and you embody those things that have been said to you.
Mm.
And so I still
Very, very
struggled, thank
important.
God for my drive, but I still struggled with just embarrassment and shame and just breaking out, breaking out.
And it's
So
not every child that will have that kind of determination and the
yes,
strength to be so resilient like you did.
yes,
And remember,
yes,
you grew up in Cameroon. Yeah, so growing up in Africa is it kind of gives you an added leverage in terms of resilience.
yes,
Children who grow up in
yes,
Africa are more resilient than children growing up in the West. Definitely more.
yes,
So parents,
yes.
take notes. Let me
Mhm.
quickly take this question. For Life Esther is asking, she said, we appreciate you and your time, Dr. O. My question is, I will read and read, but it doesn't stick. And I don't remember what I just read. What should I do? Thanks. So
Yes.
she's not remembering. Yeah.
Right. So it's hard for me to, give you, you know, I'll probably let me speak like Ola. I love the way Ola says. I need more.
You need more.
Ola, Ola is my silent mentor. I need more. But so but just to give you a little bit of insight to what I would do. So in medical school, first year medical school I did average. Second year medical school I excelled. Why did I excel? Second year medical school I did not go to class. I stayed at home to focus, and I would study from home. And so when I would read something, I would forget to, but I would tell myself a story about it. So we all
Mm,
remember stories, right? We've been talking for an hour and a half, almost an hour, and I've been telling stories and stories and stories and stories. I've been telling stories. You have also mentioned stories of how a story of how you were walking with your son. That's something that we can remember. So one of the tricks to remember something is to tell yourself a story about it. And
mm,
the more motivated you are to actually learn it, then if you're really motivated and you have a very strong why, then it actually helps. Because there are certain things that
mm,
I don't really want to learn, but because I have a strong why, right, then
mhm,
I'm motivated to learn.
mhm,
So one trick you can do to help things stick is to create a story about it and tell yourself a story. The second thing that you
mhm,
can do is engage as many of your senses as possible. Your hearing, your eyes, engage all your senses, touch, writing it out, writing it out, writing it out, writing it out. I remember as a child, I would write and I would write and I would write and I would write. I would study with my touchlight and I would write and I would write and I would write. Nobody told me to do that, but inherently, I just discovered that that's what I needed to do.
mhm. Okay, yeah. And you need also, like you said, if you have motivation, are you doing something that you enjoy, something you want to do, or you're just doing it because everybody's doing it? Okay, that's another thing. For instance, if you come to the US, everybody is going to nursing school, but you don't really have the passion to become a nurse. You may struggle. But if you
Mhm,
grow up always having that, in your heart that you want to care for people, you want to take care of people, you want to be like a midwife or something, that passion is going to help you to
mhm,
study and to learn because what you are passionate about, you are more likely to succeed in.
mhm. Yep,
So that's
that's the
another
key.
thing, Esther, you need to consider. Yeah. You
Passion.
need to be, you see, Dr. O has been talking about how, she said is either medicine or nothing because she had that passion from a 13-year-old that I want to be a doctor. Not because her parents told her or because doctors earn big money or anything. It's something she wanted to do. So when you have that passion, and that's why it's very, very important that we allow our children to do, like you said, allow them to do what they want to do. Not you telling them, you're going to be an engineer, you, doctor, you, this, that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
that's very important.
Yes.
Uncle Beno is asking a question. She said, please, Dr. O, do veterinary doctors make a lot of money? Please help my ministry as a dad. Beno, with his questions. I told
I'm
him to
not
go
a
and check Google.
veterinary
He came
doctor.
back and said no. I told him that you should go and check Google. You are not a veterinary doctor.
I'm not a vet. But
You are not a vet.
somebody had asked a question that passed. Somebody asked how I got diagnosed. What kind of doctor did I
Yes,
go to?
yes,
You
yes,
can
yes,
go to a
yes.
psychiatrist. You can go to a family medicine doctor. You can go to a psychologist. A psychologist is a therapist, and so they would, and it's done in different ways. If it's a child, what they will do is they'll give a questionnaire to the teacher, questionnaire to the mother, and then the physician will also do a questionnaire, and then the psychologist will, they have a whole different they have a different way of doing it for children. As an adult, you can just go to a psychiatrist, or you can go to a psychologist. A psychologist is a therapist, a psychologist, and they will do a whole assessment. And ADHD presents as there are certain things. It's not just what you do as an adult. You have to go all the way back to childhood, because as a
Mhm,
child I was very forgetful. Like I said, my mom will send me to go buy salt, and I have completely forgotten. And then, I was very
mhm,
forgetful.
mhm.
My room
If it's
was
Nigeria,
up.
your mom sends you to go and buy salt, Omerine, and you forgot, it's slap you will collect for that. How dare you forget?
Mm, yes,
You are
thank
lucky
God.
your parents were not the slapping types.
Ah,
Nigerian
yeah,
parents will beat shege out of your body. Shege.
mm. She
Hmm.
will shout and
Yeah.
shout, and she will shake me. She will twist my ear, but she never beat me. Thank God, because the beating I would have been receiving, because I could never, and I really wanted to remember. I really,
Yeah.
really wanted to remember. And then my room was so untidy. My room was always upside down. Not just,
Mm-hmm.
teenagers can be untidy, but my own level, my own
Was on
level.
another level.
Yes. Like
You
people come
enjoyed
to,
the chaos.
yeah, my home was chaos. Like some people come to my house these days and they're like, wow, because I'm very orderly right now. But
Yeah.
my room was chaos. My grades were chaotic, chaos everywhere, and I could never remember anything.
Hmm.
Never. So to be diagnosed as an adult, they are going to talk about the childhood. They'll go
Mm-hmm.
back to childhood.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Somebody is saying something. Maggie's said, mine is concentration. I get easily distracted.
Right. So you need more information because remember that lack of concentration can also be, and we talked about passion, and then the second thing too is depression. Depending on what you have going on in your life, if you have depression, you're going to have trouble concentrating. So it could be many, many different things. Could be, passionate about it, or you have depression, or there are other things bothering you while you can't
Mm-hmm.
get be constant, concentrate. So again, ADHD is not just okay, I am easily distracted as an adult. I'm talking about as an adult. They go back to your history to be
Mm-hmm.
diagnosed as an adult. They go back to your history as a child, and they have to see a pattern that was consistent. For me, from the age of 6 to 13, even up to, I remember my first day in my first year of boarding school as a 10-year-old. I lost everything. Even my underwear that I wore to come back home was not mine. It was so amazing. I lost everything. You know how in a 10-year-old from one child they send you with a trunk and
Mm-hmm.
a prospectus. I lost every single item,
Mm-hmm.
all my books, everything. I lost every single thing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a pattern, a consistent pattern. It's not a diagnosis that is frivolous, it's a consistent pattern. And again, it's not the child acting, it is actually there's actually a chemical basis for this problem.
Right. Somebody's asking a question. Thank you so much, Dr. O. We're about to round up now in another 10 minutes. If you have a question, please, can you make it clear and put it in the comment section very quickly? We are rounding up. Misty, your question, I'm going to try and read it, but I don't think I understand it. You said, Dr. O, my child is 9 in high school, but we've been through all professionals in this world, from being a princess, surgeon, dentist, cardiologist, and now we are most likely a lawyer. How do I help? I don't really understand. Is it in terms of what they want to do in life, like their chosen career?
I
Is
think
that what
that's
you mean?
yeah, I think that's what she's asking.
Okay, high school. She's in high school, or
Mhm.
he.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if I don't know where Missy is, and thank you for the question. That's a valid question. And your child is not alone. There are even adults. There are adults with that same problem, especially when most adults get to their midlife. The adults that go through that crisis of what do I want to be in life. If you're in the Western world, you can engage career counselors.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that you can engage, and they do tests. um,
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I love doing and I love talking about are personality tests. There's so many personality tests out there. There's this Myers-Briggs test that talks about that where you can find out what your child's personality is, and then once you find out what your child's personality is, they'll say top you can find out top carriers for that personality. And then
Mm-hmm.
so I would engage a career counselor, because in the Western world, the good thing about the UK, the United States, Canada is that there are so many resources.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's quite normal. I wouldn't worry if I were you, Misty. That a high school student doesn't know what they want to be and they are changing every day is no big deal. It's quite normal for that age, you know. I mean, if you're comparing it to us when we're growing up, it's different. Because we knew from secondary school, this is where I want to be. But I don't think it's like that. And not for all children. Some children still know. I
Mhm.
mean, I know a young girl who's already told me that she wants to be a doctor. And I said, why? Are your parents asking you to be a doctor? She said, no. I just want to help people. And I felt that was so sweet,
Mhm.
but a high school student not, settling on one career at this stage is not something I will worry about.
Mhm.
Okay. So for me, what I do with my children is that I look at their abilities
Yes.
and also what they are passionate about, what their hobbies are, what do they like doing.
Mhm.
Okay. Are they more like, because some children are intellectual and they can read, they like anything that has to do with books, and some are creative,
Mhm.
some are visual, some are artistic. So these
Mhm.
are the things that you look at. If your child is artistic, for instance, and they just like things that are creative, and they just like like I have a child that music, he lives and he breathes music. Everything about him is music. Imagine me telling him or encouraging him to go and be a lawyer. It's just going to be frustrated. So
Mhm.
I think eventually they will find their way. It's
Yes.
just for you to nudge them, encourage them, try
Mhm.
different things, have conversations with them. And like Dr. O said, you can try a career, advisor. They do have them in schools here, by the
Yes,
way.
they have so
In
many
the
of them.
UK,
So
they
many
have
of them.
them. Yeah, they have
Yes.
them.
Once
Mm,
children get to high
they
school
have them.
here, they start linking them up with career counselors, and I think it's
Yeah, yeah,
beneficial.
yeah. Some are very, especially girls, they usually know what they want to do
Mm-hmm.
quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Boys take a bit longer to get there. They'll say, okay, I want to do this. I want to do this. Then you can ask, I mean, 16, 17-year-old, what do you want to do? You say, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I know. And back home, the way we grow up, we didn't have many options anyway. We now have all these choices now. There's choice overload.
Uncle Beno, please leave me alone. He said, Auntie B, you are right, ma. These children seems to know what they want to do, but one of them chose animal doctor, and that scares the hell out of me. What is wrong with being a vet doctor?
It
There's
should be
nothing
a
wrong
veg.
in it. Maybe they like pets and they want to take care of pets.
Do you know
It's
how
a real
many?
career. It's a
Yes,
real
so
job.
and it's very hard to get into veterinary school here in the United States. It's
He
very
says he's an
tough.
animal doctor. You are undermining leave that child alone.
Yes,
Yeah, they want to
and
take care
it's
of animals. That's good.
yes,
Have you seen
yes,
the number of animals that pets that Oyibo people have?
yes.
They
Even
need
this,
doctors. Hmm. That's a good one. If they know, I mean, for instance, if your daughter or your son wants to be vet doctors, you can give them more information about it. Maybe book an appointment and take them to go and actually visit a real vet clinic to see
yes,
what it takes.
yes.
That's like we're making a joke the other day about somebody that said they wanted to be a doctor, and then they went to remove their teeth, and because of small blood, they fainted. They fainted, and the dentist left the patient, and is the person that is fainted and now looking at where, please. that,
But
that
but
that
but
career ended very quickly before it started.
yeah, but also remember that there are so many careers in medicine. So you can graduate to become a physician and become a physician journalist, or
Exactly.
become like what's his name, Gupta. Yes, he's a neurologist. Even Dr. Oz, does Dr. Oz still do surgery anymore? I don't think so.
Exactly. And also you can also go into teaching if you wanted to. You can go into, the academic side of it. If you have experience, then you go into academic. You've forgotten that for every profession, you need those same people to teach and to tutor the next generation. So you can go into academics. Mildred said, hello, Omerine. I'm proud to see my Cameroonian sister here and a fellow medical doctor giving such an informative talk. Go, Lesa.
Yes,
Go Pemasa,
yes.
go Bamanda. Thank you, Auntie B. Oh, you're welcome.
Go
You're
Lessa.
welcome.
Yes.
Go
So
Lesa. What does that mean?
Our Lady of Lords was the school that I went to.
Ah, okay.
Yes,
All right.
PHS. Yeah.
All right, all
So I'm
right.
not a Pemexan, no. I went to BHS Boyan next.
Mm. Thank you so much. Yeah. Mary's Amazing Kitchen. What is your says? Is this for Miren? What is your advice on the use of subliminal videos used in shifting reality for daydreamers?
No. That question is above
Sounds
me.
like a psych. It sounds like a psych question. Which one is shifting reality, Egbamio? What's that?
I think what she's talking about is sometimes during the so your subconscious mind is a very is your sub our subconscious mind influences us more than we think. For example, you and I don't have to sit, we don't have to think about getting up from this chair. We don't have, like, I'm talking like this, right? I don't have to tell myself do this, because my subconscious mind already knows that when I talk I do this. So subliminal videos, some people use them when they sleep, so your subconscious mind can hear, like, I am worthy, I am amazing, I
Okay.
am this,
Okay.
I am
Okay.
that. Also,
Ah.
yeah, hypnosis, I am to reprogram your subconscious mind. And
Mm,
that's why those negative things that we say have such a lasting impact,
mm,
because there is a book on YouTube that people can look at. It's called The Body Keeps a Store. Every traumatic experience, every negative thing, every positive, negative, everything, it's in you. It's in you.
mm.
It's in you. So that's why, sometimes, even if I am in a new place, um, if I'm not careful, I can present as a 13-year-old who failed. But then I have to remind myself, and talk to myself to come as a confident person who overcame that. So that's what I'm.
Okay, this is the final question I'm going to take because of time. Didi is asking a question. Thank you so much, Auntie B and Dr. O, for this inspirational story. I and my hobby are divided on sending the kids to a public or private school in the US. Please, what's your take on this?
So
Public or private?
I think both are good. I have children in both. My first son is in private school, and my other two children are in public school. The only reason why he's in private school is because he did not like the public school. So we came to I moved to this area because of the school system. It's one of the best school systems in Texas. They didn't like it. They didn't like it, and that's why he's in that private school. He felt like he wasn't challenged enough. But I believe, and I've had a lot of friends who have had children go to public school, and children go to private school who have done well. So I think that it comes down to what you guys want and what you can afford.
Yes,
Because private school
absolutely.
is not, it's not
It's not
easy.
more more.
I
It's
am
not more more.
I
Yeah.
am paying and paying, but he is excelling and doing so well. And in my mind, I am investing in him now for his future, because he can actually get a scholarship, with his grades to college. That's the reason I'm doing it. But there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with public school if you are in a good zone.
Yeah. And
Good school.
also, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have friends who have their kids. For some Nigerians, it's a thing of prestige.
Prestige. Mhm.
Yeah, when your children are in the private school. But if you and your partner work in a company or organization,
Mhm.
sometimes it comes with a package, right? Where they pay fees because it's expensive here as well. It's very expensive. But I
Yes.
usually say that the public schools are quite good. They
Hmm.
are. It depends on where you live. They are quite good. And if your child, for any reason, you see a child that is struggling, you can support them with tutoring. I don't
Hmm.
know how it is in the US, but you can get to.
Yes.
That's what these Indians and Asians do. Get them
Hmm.
into tutoring, additional tutoring at home.
Hmm.
They can do it online or if there's somewhere local that you can take them to. And that will. The important thing is that they excel in their academic. Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
If you cannot afford it, I'm not going to advise anybody to stress themselves to the point of, laboring too much because they want to afford
Mm-hmm.
private school.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Especially if you and your partner are not agreeing. Yeah, let this
yeah,
one not be something that, you know,
yeah. I have
just
a
sit
friend
down.
that is a mom that is going to be pushing for private schools. I know we women. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Women
yes.
would, yeah, the wife would be like, no, it's private schools. My friends' children are in private schools. They're in private schools. I mean, the modern society, yeah, before we leave, I just want to say something. You guys, as parents, please, let's have an open mind going forward.
Mm-hmm.
The things that people are making money from this day and age is not what even
Yes,
existed when we're
yes.
growing up. Okay? Why
Mm-hmm.
we'll still advise, I always tell my children, just go and have the degree, doesn't matter.
Yep.
Have the degree first. Man of person, thank you. Chidima, thank you for that super chat. I appreciate you. Just go and have the degree, yeah. But there are so many routes, like you Americans call it, to success these days. Okay, and so
Mhm.
many things that is not the conventional, careers that we previously knew that people
Yes.
can do in this day and age. And the important thing is that we want our children to succeed. We want
Mm-hmm.
them to do well. We want them to have good paying careers where they will be happy and they will live a fulfilling life. So
Yes.
please, parents, have an open mind. Okay? Have an
Mm-hmm.
open mind. As long as they are not going to end up in McDonald's. You will
Because
end up in McDonald's. No, we don't want that.
and
We don't
to
want
be
them to
clear,
end up in
I
McDonald's.
share two things. There is
Right.
the science, there is the science of achievement, and there's the science of fulfillment.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can achieve. We Africans, we are excellent at achieving. But how many of us are
Mm-hmm.
truly happy?
Yeah.
How many of us are truly fulfilled? So the science of achievement is easy. It's easy, especially if we're raised in Africa. All of us, we have a very big tribe. But the science of fulfillment, that is harder. So now we have a chance of helping our children achieve both. The other reason why my first child is also in that public school, private school, is because they also really focus on that fulfillment area.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, because remember Robin Williams, the actor who
Mm-hmm.
died himself, unfortunately. And
Mm-hmm.
what did he not achieve in this life in
Mm-hmm.
acting? What did he
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
what money, what role did he not play? What did he not achieve? But he was not fulfilled, and he pied himself.
Mm.
I mean, so sad. And then the second thing I want to talk about is this. You remember, this quote that we always say, "Jack of all trades, master of
Master
none."
of none. Mm-hmm.
I want to share the full quote. The full quote. Let me read it. A jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes it's better than a master of one.
Mm-hmm.
So it is better to be a master. It is better to be a jack of all trades than be a master of one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so remember that a child receiving whatever it is that they're receiving, whatever degree or whatever it is that they're receiving, is just an entry point. We are born twice in this world, first
Mm-hmm.
by our parents, then we birth ourselves.
Absolutely.
My medical degree, hey, I have other things. My two books that I read have nothing to do, well, one has something to do with medicine, but the second one has nothing to do with medicine. All there's so many things that I've done that have nothing to do with medicine. So let's not push our children to, let's not box our children, because remember, now we're in a century that we have AI, we have all these other things going on. We have to be multifaceted. So let's not box our children from an early age. Let's
Yeah.
forget about this lawyer, doctor, what have you. I just happen to have wanted to be a doctor myself. Thank God,
Yeah.
nobody pushed me. I just wanted to be the doctor, and there's nothing wrong with being that, and there's nothing wrong with your child wanting that. But
Mm-hmm.
let's keep an open mind and
Mm-hmm.
allow them to receive their passion and build on that so that they can achieve fulfillment, because fulfillment is what's causing a lot of problems This
Mm-hmm.
lack of fulfillment is
Mm-hmm.
causing a lot of problems
Mm-hmm.
in marriages.
Samiti, you're saying your children will not do medicine. I don't know. A lot of doctors don't always encourage their children to do medicine. I don't know why. I have a friend who said no, she doesn't want what it doesn't want their children. Meanwhile, some will push their children. So you are a doctor, your husband is a doctor, and you don't want your children to what if they want to be doctors? Are you gonna stop them? We are bettered twice. Yeah.
Birth
One
twice.
is the one, yeah. There's actually that saying in Yoruba. Yeah. Tomba bie, watura ebi. Your parents gave birth to you, you too, you will not bet yourself.
Say it again. I
Absolutely.
want to write it down. Tombambire.
Don't even try.
Yes, in small Yoruba.
I'll send it to you. Don't worry. I'll send it to you. Somebody here, what to be? You will give birth
Ah,
to yourself again. You
yes,
bet yourself for the second
yes,
time. So,
and
so it's
yes,
just a way of saying that you can't keep blaming your parents for everything. That at a point you gotta
mhm,
be accountable for your own life.
yep,
That's what
yep,
it means. Yeah,
yes, yes.
you gotta grow up. Mm.
Yes. So please, parents, if your child is failing, just remember that there's a doctor somewhere in America who made
Mhm.
it. Who made it?
Who made it? Who made
Remember
it?
Doctor O.
Exactly. Doctor
If I,
O made it
if I
from
made
F
it, any child
to
can make it.
MD. So MD. Stella said, my daughter says she wants to be a teacher and she's so serious. Of course, she's just 5. The Nigerian in me is looking at her like, you're rolling your eyes and looking at her. But this exposed me to know that they will excel in anything. Yeah. If she says she wants to be a teacher, I mean,
Especially if she's passionate about it.
yeah, why not? You
Because
are using the eye of that teacher in Nigeria, those broke teachers. That's what you're using to look at it.
teachers in the United States too may not make as much money, but remember, whatever the title is just an entry point. Like remember,
Mm,
jack of all trades is better to not be a master of one. So teacher is just entry point. You know,
yeah,
teacher
yeah.
is just
All
entry
these
point.
people that are saying that their children will not do their profession, allow them to do what they want to do.
I don't know,
But
my
if
children
they
will be
say,
a nurse in Jesus' name.
I'm a nurse and I've declared that none of my children will be a nurse in Jesus' name. You know, people should allow them to be what they want to be. Oh,
Just allow them to be who they want
what
to
if
be.
they have a passion for it? They might want to be it. Some people love nursing.
Yes.
You might not like it because maybe your experience has not been good, or you didn't like it, you just did it to have a job, but you never know. I
And
mean, being a
nursing,
teacher also doesn't mean that you cannot build schools. You can build schools. Yeah,
yes.
teachers build
And
their own.
nursing is an entry point. My parents were teachers, but like I said, my father was the director of the schools that taught teachers, but he was a teacher. My
Mm,
mother was a teacher, but she was one of the teachers who she got to the point where she was actually the one who set the questions for the national exams. So a teacher is just
there are
an entry.
categories.
You
There are
can do that.
categories. Mm.
And not everybody has to be driven. Okay, we need teachers. So it's a teacher that changed my life. He's a teacher till today. That man, he does not own his own school, but he's still a
Mm.
teacher from today. When I did that show with him on Facebook, over 1,000 students came and they said,
Wow.
Mr. Sama made a difference in my life.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that's, I mean, what are the blessings? One of these days, I keep saying that I'm going to buy that teacher, I'm going to buy him a car. I have to buy him a car. He's still a teacher till this day, math teacher. That's what he does.
He's still
So
not retired.
he's not retired though. He's still a teacher.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
So we need somebody. Not everybody will own, the school. Not everybody will be CEO this, so that we need people who are actually passionate, because of him as a being a teacher, I now get to be an emergency room doctor who saving life, who
Mm.
is saving people's lives. Last week
Mm.
I had somebody who was 21 who came to the emergency room not breathing. I put her on life support.
Mm.
And then she woke up from that. Okay. I saved her life. The week
Mm.
before that, I had a 3-year-old came to emergency room, was not breathing. Her oxygen was like 30. We did all kinds of things. The week before that, I had somebody who came in and just a wasp had a wasp stung him and his whole face. The man almost died. Because of that teacher, I am where I am.
Hmm.
So we need
Teachers
teachers
are important. Yeah,
who are
absolutely.
passionate to who are
Passionate. Yeah, there are some wicked teachers.
yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We need
Yeah.
teachers. We need
Yeah.
everybody. We need
Mm-hmm.
everybody. Everybody is important. The people who clean the floor in the hospital are important. The people who take the x-rays, the doctors, we're all a team because all of us, like when the child came in, all of us, plus the CNA, the LVN, the x-ray people, plus the cleaners, all of us were working on that child. So everybody is important. I may have been the doctor calling the shots, but everybody works as a team. So we need everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. O, for joining us today. It's lovely to see your pretty face again. In case anyone is wondering, Dr. O is in Texas. She's beautiful girl. She's the one that Monica was like, you need to go out. How many of you remember from that show? Like, you need to go out, you need to take yourself out, make sure that you are out there, dress up. How are you doing on that?
Ah,
Have you gone out since then?
well, I I will try again. I went okay, but no, I went out one. I went. Where did I go? I went out one time, but I not sit at. They say you're supposed to sit at the bar, right? I was like,
Yeah,
I don't have energy
you
for this. So
didn't.
I just sat down somewhere. But I
Try.
will try, and I'll show my pretty face.
Try. Show your pretty face again. Show your pretty face again. Go out there. Go out there.
Yes,
Thank you
yes.
so much for joining us tonight.
Thank
Really appreciate you,
thank
Dr.
you for
O.
having me.
My
Thank you.
love to everybody, and it's been a pleasure having you on the show. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us tonight and for encouraging parents and also adults. You can see we got adults here saying they're going to go back to school. They're going to, I mean, this has been powerful. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye, everybody.
Bye, darling. Bye bye. That was Dr. O, our lovely Dr. O. If this has blessed you, you've gained something, you can help somebody out there. It's only an hour and a half, so share it. It can literally change somebody's life. We're all about impact, and I hope you've been impacted. Thank you so much for being here. Um, Tomorrow, I'm not going to be able to make the show tomorrow, so I moved it to Saturday. I'm going to have the show on Saturday where I will be talking about there's a man. His name is Stephen Durojaye. This is from Dr. Shola. Although we have his permission to run this show. The story was so profound, I said we have to talk about this. This man went to the US and for the past 3 years, he just disappeared. His family were not hearing nothing from him anymore. Life with Nathan, thank you very much. I appreciate that. You said, I went to look for my second grade teacher after 36 years because of the impact she made on me. I can remember how kind and encouraging towards me. She saw something I did not see, and I'm eternally grateful. Oh, that's beautiful. All of you that had positive experience of teachers, I'm happy for you. I didn't. All my teachers were very wicked. They used to tell us you will fail. You will fail. You will fail. We were very stubborn. We said we are not going to fail. So this man, his name is Stephen Durojaye. I want to share his story with you guys on Saturday. Please join me. There's so many things we can learn from this story. For 3 years, his family could not reach him. His wife and children, his brothers, uncles, father, mother in Nigeria, not knowing that the man has spy in America. Nobody knew. So that's the story I'm doing on Saturday. Make it a date with us. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. There's a lot of lesson, especially for people who are Africans in the diaspora and you are undocumented, as they call it. You don't have papers, you don't have health insurance. A lot of learning we're going to take from that because it was totally heartbreaking what happened to this man. So we're going to use it and just to educate people on what to do. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you on Saturday, bright and early. Usual time, 7 p.m., 1 o'clock your time, or 2 o'clock. but 7 p.m. in the UK and in Nigeria. God bless you. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so, and I shall see you on Saturday evening. Bye, guys.